In Los Angeles, young magician Bo Wolf performs on the street to earn some spare change. Last year, he was informed that his half-sister Tina had lost her parents, and now he has become her legal guardian. Despite the difficulties, the two siblings are very close, and Bo strives to provide for his sister. This morning, he shows a group of young people his card trick, where one of the spectators puts the card in his shirt pocket, but it mysteriously disappears. Bo then asks the group to check if the card has ended up somewhere else, and one of the girls finds it inside her bag. Later, the young magician performs another trick, this time to impress a girl he has a crush on, named Holly. His trick is to make a wedding ring levitate before Holly's eyes. She is very impressed with the magic and asks him how he does it. However, a magician must never reveal his secrets, and after finishing his performances for the day, Bo takes his sister back home. Once there, he goes to the bathroom and it is revealed that Bo has placed an electromagnetic device on his own arm. While still in high school, the young man created this device, which earned him a college scholarship, but he had to give up this opportunity to take care of his sister. Thanks to this device, Bo can levitate metal objects by alternating the positive and negative electrodes between his arm and fingers. After cleaning the wound on his arm, the magician goes to talk to his neighbor Georgie, asking for help putting Tina to bed after dinner. She agrees, and then Bo goes to Luna's bar, one of his best customers, to do his secret job. In fact, the young man sells certain prohibited substances on the streets of Los Angeles, working for his supplier, the gangster Angelo, to earn extra money. However, during the night, two police officers see the magician in another illegal deal and order him to raise his hands. With the young man's back turned, the police officer begins to search him, but finds nothing in his pockets or inside his coat. Without any evidence, the officer tells him to leave, but thanks to his magic tricks, Bo managed to hide the merchandise in his coat sleeve. After another night on the town, he returns home and checks to see if his sister is asleep. With everything in order at home, Bo goes to rest, but ends up oversleeping and wakes up to the sound of the fire alarm. He quickly runs to the kitchen and sees his sister trying to fry bacon in a pan with oil. Luckily, Bo manages to turn off the stove in time and tells his sister not to play with fire without him around. Tina apologizes, saying she was trying to make breakfast for her brother, which calms Bo down and he promises to teach her how to do it the right way. After breakfast, the young man finishes counting the money he collected during the night, in addition to what he managed to earn with his magic tricks. Among the money, he finds a piece of paper with Holly's number, and without wasting any time, Bo contacts her and sets up a date with the girl. Hours later, Bo goes to Angelo's house and delivers the day's payment. The man is impressed with the young man's business skills and asks for another favor, saying he needs to know who is selling the substances at Luna's nightclub. Bo agrees to do this and says he has a date with a girl later, so Angelo gives him a bonus so they can both have fun. The young man thanks him for his help, and later, he goes to the nightclub and sees one of the customers leaving the bathroom with some merchandise. Upon entering, Bo finds the seller and asks if he has any products to sell him. The guy refuses, but when Bo insists, he loses his patience and pushes him against the wall, warning him that he has nothing for sale. The guy then leaves, but Bo manages to take his cell phone without him noticing and informs Angelo that the supplier's name is Maurice. After that, Bo goes to meet Holly at a restaurant, and throughout the date, the two feel a strong connection to each other. Unfortunately for Bo, work calls, and he receives an urgent call from Angelo, asking him to come to his house. With no other choice, he cancels his date with Holly, but she says she enjoyed meeting him, and the two agree to see each other again. Minutes later, Bo arrives at Angelo's house, and one of his henchmen hands him a gun. Soon after, the boss appears, saying he has discovered Maurice's location and intends to teach him a lesson so he never tries to invade his territory again. Bo realizes that things have gone too far, but he can't back out and follows the group to the criminal's hideout. Once there, Angelo storms in and finds Maurice and his men playing poker, paying little attention to the group. Angelo then orders Bo and the others to check if there are more people in the place, but the magician gets nervous and drops his gun. Then, another one of Maurice's henchmen appears and tries to take the gun, but he is saved by his colleague, who points the gun at the guy. With the place secure, Angelo sits down at the table and warns Maurice that he cannot invade the territory without his permission. However, the guy is not intimidated, calling him old man and telling him to get out of there as soon as possible. As if that weren't enough, his henchman throws a poker chip in Angelo's face, not taking him seriously. In response, the crime boss beats up the lunatic and warns Maurice that if he doesn't want the same thing to happen to him, he'd better become a dealer and pay the 30% fee. After this lesson, Angelo takes everyone back, and on the way, his men make fun of Bo for dropping his gun. Even so, the crime boss is pleased with the young man's work and names him one of his trusted men. Despite this, Bo is not satisfied with the way things have turned out and goes to talk to Georgie. He says he was surprised by Angelo's attitude, who, despite being involved in crime, seemed to be a peaceful guy and only did illegal business on the streets. However, now that things have escalated to more serious crimes, Bo realizes he can't continue this life much longer. Because of this, the next day he does even more magic shows to raise money, one of them in front of Holly's workplace. The girl is happy to see him again, and Bo invites her to dinner and to watch a movie at his house. Holly accepts, and when she arrives, she is greeted by Georgie and Tina, with the girl saying she likes her brother's girlfriend. However, the moment is interrupted by an unexpected visit from Angelo, who calls Bo aside to talk. As they leave the house, the man says that Maurice did not fulfill the agreement, and now he intends to teach him one last lesson. Angelo then tells Bo to get ready to go with him, and once again the young man is forced to leave Holly and her family at home. The girl, however, agrees to take care of Tina, and Georgie asks what happened, but Bo thinks it's best to keep everything a secret and leaves. Minutes later, Angelo and his group find Maurice leaving a nightclub accompanied, and knock him down with a blow to the head. Then, the crime boss takes him to his house and warns him that now he will suffer the consequences for breaking the agreement. Angelo then asks Bo to get a tarp from the kitchen, and his men place Maurice on top of it. Soon after, Angelo hands Bo a cleaver and orders him to remove Maurice's hand, as he needs to learn a lesson about respect. At first, the young man refuses, but faced with Angelo's threats, he obeys and removes Maurice's hand after several attempts. Bo feels bad about what he has just done, and Angelo takes him back home and gives him a new shipment of merchandise, in even greater quantity. With no other choice, Bo accepts the new job, and when he gets home, he finds Holly sleeping on the couch. The young man takes her to bed and gives her one of his t-shirts, but when the young woman goes to change, Bo sees several marks around her back. Despite this, the young man decides not to mention it, and the two rest for the rest of the night. The next morning, Bo wakes up to a message from Holly, saying she had to leave early for work, but is waiting for his message. Bo promises to get back to her, but first he needs to finish his work and calls Georgie to show him the merchandise he received from Angelo. In total, he has a kilo of the substance to sell, but the young man decides to adulterate the product, mixing it with baking soda to double the amount to 2 kilos. Despite the risks, this could be his chance to get the money he needs and leave this life behind, along with Holly and Tina. With everything ready, he starts making his sales throughout the night, when suddenly he gets a call from Holly. The two arrange to meet at Bo's house, and when he gets there, the young man sees more marks on Holly's face. The girl reveals that she lives with her abusive mother, who has turned to alcohol since the divorce and, in her worst moments, often attacks her own daughter. Upon learning this, Bo offers the girl a place to stay at his house, and Holly thanks him for the gesture with a kiss. The two then spend the night together in the bedroom, but at dawn, Holly sees the battery inside Bo's arm. She notices that the wound around it looks infected and asks why he did that to his own arm. Bo then explains that when he was a child, his parents took him to a magic show, which left him very impressed. At the end of the performance, the magician stabbed his own hand with a knife and asked the young man to remove it. But when Bo pulled out the blade, nothing happened to his hand, and the magician didn't even feel any pain. The young man asked how he did it, but the man replied that only magicians can know this secret. A year later, Bo went back to the place, showing that he had learned to do some tricks, and then the magician told him everything. In fact, it wasn't a trick, and he did it with his own hand several times until the knife wound healed. He then covered the wound with latex, so the knife no longer touched his skin, and everyone thought the blade was capable of piercing his hand. From that day on, Bo realized that a real magician is willing to do what other people have never tried. So he decided to put the electromagnetic battery in his arm to make his magic the best it could be and earn money to support his sister. Holly understands his reasons, and in the following days, she moves in with Bo, who improves the battery's performance to test new tricks. One of them consists of making 3 friends believe that there is a spirit sitting in the chair, and then the magician asks him to get up. At first, nothing happens, but with a movement of his hand, the chair moves away, leaving the 3 girls impressed. His tricks earn him more money, as do his sales, and one night, Bo decides to rest next to Holly and Tina. However, shortly after, the young man receives another call from Angelo, inviting him to the party he organized at his house. The young man goes there, and his boss calls him into the office, but as soon as Bo enters, Angelo greets him with a punch. The crime boss says he found out about the mixture Bo made, and even pulls out a gun, threatening to eliminate him right there. However, he decides to give him another chance, and in addition to the $15,000 he was going to collect, he still owes another $30,000 for the value of the stolen merchandise. With a debt of $45,000, Angelo gives Bo until Sunday to come up with the full amount, otherwise he and his family will pay with their lives. Desperate, the young man leaves, and when he gets home, Holly asks him what happened. After telling her the whole truth, Bo believes that Holly will leave, but instead, she convinces him to sell the merchandise and continue his magic tricks. With that, he can collect the amount owed and get rid of the debt before it's too late. Bo then begins to devote himself even more to his tricks during the day, while selling all the merchandise throughout the nights. However, after selling everything, he only managed to raise a little over $35,000, and Holly contributes another $900 she saved for college. Now, he needs to raise $9,000 to pay off the debt, but Bo only has 6 hours until the period Angelo gave him. With no hope of raising the money, the young man decides to take Holly and Tina to the arcade so that the girl can have fun for the rest of the day. He even uses electromagnetism to make the coins fall out of the machine, which makes Tina very happy. However, the time is running out, but suddenly, Bo receives a call from Luna, asking if he has more merchandise to sell. In an act of desperation, Bo says yes and returns home, where he makes more packages, but using medicine. He then takes the order to Luna, who goes to get the money from the safe, unaware that Bo is watching her from behind and memorizing the combination. Then the two go to the nightclub and the magician takes advantage of her distraction and takes the key to her office. He then says he needs to go to the bathroom, but instead, he breaks into the office, manages to open the safe, and takes not only the money, but also the merchandise he brought. As he is about to leave, one of the security guards goes to the office to get the guest list, but Bo turns off the lights and hides under the table. As soon as the guard leaves, Bo manages to escape and goes to meet Luna, putting the key back in his pocket without her noticing. After everything, the young man breathes a sigh of relief, as he has finally managed to get the money to pay off his debt. However, when he looks up, he sees Maurice and his henchmen in the nightclub, who recognize Bo and run after him. The young man then runs away into an alley, but Maurice and his henchmen manage to surround him and knock him unconscious with a blow. Shortly after, Bo wakes up in the trunk of Maurice's car, with his hands handcuffed behind his back. Unable to free himself, Bo decides to use the electromagnetism in his hands to try to open the handcuffs. With great effort, he manages to free himself, and immediately uses his energy again to open the trunk lock, managing to get out of the car. Outside, he sees Maurice and his men in their hideout, preparing the place with a tarp. The group intends to take revenge on Bo for what he did to their leader, but as soon as they open the trunk, they find only the open handcuffs, as if Bo had disappeared by magic. After narrowly escaping, the young man goes home, grabs his things, and hides at Georgie's house with Holly and Tina. Shortly after, Angelo and his henchmen break into the place and start ransacking everything, looking for Bo and the money, but the place is completely empty. Angelo then calls Bo, and the young man answers from the other house, saying that he hasn't gotten all the money yet and needs more time. Furious, the crime boss warns him that he will give him one more day, and will add another $5,000 for the inconvenience. The next morning, Bo drops his sister off at school and goes to talk to Holly, who suggests that the two of them flee Los Angeles as soon as possible. Bo accepts the idea, and hours later, he goes to pick up Tina from school, only to find that she is no longer there. Soon after, he receives a call from his sister's cell phone, but on the other end of the line, Bo hears Angelo's voice. The gangster gives the young man one last warning to get the money back, or he will never see his sister again. With the situation becoming increasingly complicated, Bo returns home and tries to think of a way to save Tina. Amid the mess inside the house, he finds a photo from his high school days, when he won the science fair for his project on electromagnetism. In the photo, he is standing next to his old teacher, Mr. Granger, and Bo decides to go to his house to ask for his help. The young man then shows him what he has done to his own arm and says that with it, he can move metal objects, but he needs more power to control even heavier metals. The teacher is impressed with what the young man has done, but warns him that the infection is spreading through his arm. However, Bo has no time to lose and asks the teacher how he can make his electromagnetism even more efficient. For that, they will need a bigger battery, so Mr. Granger takes the young man to his garage, and there they begin to rework the device. With the equipment ready, they put bigger batteries inside Bo's backpack and test it with the professor's car. The young man then tries to move the vehicle with his device, but the weight of the car causes Bo to be pulled by the electromagnetic force. Still, Bo managed to improve the equipment enough for his plan, and before saying goodbye, he tells the professor that he would have liked to have gotten the scholarship. Unfortunately, life has taken a different turn, and now he needs to solve a problem so he can try to start over. Finally, Bo goes to Angelo's house and says goodbye to Holly, asking her to run away if he doesn't return in half an hour. Then the young man enters the house, and inside, Angelo's henchmen are throwing a party. When they see Bo, one of them advances toward him, but the man has metal teeth, and the young man uses his magnetism to rip them all out. The guy is bewildered, and the second henchman attacks Bo with a metal baseball bat. Again, Bo manages to block the attack, causing the man to be hit by the bat, and then throws him against the wall. Everyone is frightened by the young man's tricks, who orders the guests to leave the house and calls for Angelo. The man soon appears and demands to know if the young man has brought his money, but Bo asks where he has hidden his sister and says he will not hand anything over until he knows she is safe. This only makes the crime boss angrier, and he regrets that things have come to this. Angelo trusted Bo to be one of his trusted men, but that's all over now, and he will pay for his disrespect with his own life. The man then pulls out his gun and shoots at Bo, but in a reflexive movement, the young man manages to block the bullets with magnetism. He then disarms Angelo, picks up one of the bullets lying on the floor, and presses it against the man's forehead, demanding to know where his sister is. With the bullet about to eliminate him, Angelo reveals that he left the girl with his aunt and asks him to stop the bullet. Seeing that the guy told the truth, Bo lets him go and even returns the $15,000 owed for the sale of the merchandise. After that, the young man calls Holly to go to Angelo's aunt's address, and he needs to hurry because his arm is overheated from the effort. Once there, he is relieved to find his sister safe, and flees with her and Holly far away from there. Months later, the three are living in San Diego, where Bo continues to perform his magic tricks for pedestrians. After a day of performances, he and Holly pick up Tina from school, and when they get home, Bo says he is preparing a revolutionary new trick. In the middle of the night, Holly wakes up and sees the lights in the house flashing non-stop. She then goes to Bo's office and is surprised by what she has just seen, but like all great magicians, Bo cannot reveal his secrets to the public, and his new trick remains a mystery. So what did you think of this movie? Leave it in the comments below. And if you liked the video, like and subscribe for more movie recaps. See you next time.